Now, Trevor Mallard is trespassing a whole lot of people from the grounds, and that poses a problem to the freedom movements because you're going to want to have to go back there. The reason why you're going to have to go back there is because Wellington's going to have to be done again. Just better. Much better, right? The first part was practice, and, you know, it's a first, it's a start. We did a lot of things wrong there. We were unlawful in many places, especially on Molesworth, blocking up Molesworth, blocking up Hill Street. We were conducting unlawful actions. Legal, illegal, it doesn't really, if you learn your law, it doesn't really apply to you, okay? Because legal and illegal, they don't really, most of the time, if you've got good legislation, legal and illegal will align with no harm, injury, or loss, align with law. That's why there's a difference between unlawful and illegal, and lawful and legal. Very big difference, because legislation doesn't necessarily prevent harm, injury, or loss. It attempts to prevent hypothetical future injury or harm, injury, or loss, which that's a very big difference. And you have to make sure that you're getting legislation correct in line with law. Otherwise, people will get confused. People will look at legislation and government as useless and pointless, and the whole system collapses, as is what's happening right now. So, with that, it's very important that all of the individuals who are receiving trespass notices do not acknowledge the validity of the trespass notice, because it's not valid. And here's how you make it not valid. Question whether Trevor Mallard is the actual occupier of that space. You have to question that, because what you'll learn is you'll find that some other entity may actually be the owner of the title, or even or you may even find that the title's not valid and it's based in fraud. And so the first thing that you should do is send this back devoid of your consent and lack of willingness to contract, with some questions written in blue, obviously. Now, this is very difficult. To do this correctly is very difficult, and many of you will do it incorrectly, but that's not the point. The point here is you have to dispute it. Otherwise, if we go back to Wellington and you haven't disputed it, and you haven't gone through the process of trying to figure out how to dispute it correctly, you will not be able to go there because you consented to the trespass. All right? Whether people agree or not is irrelevant. A trespass notice from a corporate entity is an offer of contract. It is. You may not believe it, but it is. It's an offer of contract to your person. You are not trespassed until you accept it. And you don't accept it because there may be something wrong with this. It may not be a valid trespass notice, and you really, really need it to not be a valid trespass notice. Otherwise, you can't come back. So all those individuals who are in these groups like the Arrested Heroes Network, and where they're communicating over what to do about this trespass notice, you absolutely have to dispute it in some way. Do not listen to individuals who don't know what they're talking about, like Methaloo Phil, because they don't know what they're talking about. And if you listen to those guys, you may not be able to go back on those grounds when we need to go back. So it's very, very important that you do your research, not just within the university knowledge, but outside in those secret avenues of knowledge, and where old books exist and they're still valid because they're connected to certain acts like the Imperial Laws Application Act or the Senior Courts Act, and all these things, and where there's little breadcrumbs of information that connect back to old law. And old law is important because it's first in time. And first in time is best in law. So make sure that you do your due diligence. Don't be arrogant. Don't assume that all I know is all that needs to be known. And seek out information that has been around for a long, long time. Because it will help, especially at times like this. You're going to have to be armed with good fitness, good health, and a good all-considering mind that assumes that all I know is not all that I could know. All right? Hope you guys have a good day. Keep thinking for yourselves. Ka kite anō.